Hi everyone! I hope you're having a lovely day. I am Kate in Fantasyland, and this is the Bookworm Challenge, where I have to read and do absolutely everything in Genshin Impact. And hi Manif, I hope you're having a lovely day. Today, I hope after such a long while, I will finally be able to have a very chill stream. I stopped here yesterday because there was an NPC that I'll have to talk with at some point, but not today. Today, after such a long time, I am ready to explore Flins' character in a very thorough way. I have him on level 90, friendship 10, which means that absolutely everything here should be unlocked. At least I hope so. I think sometimes there are some lines that are locked behind the quest or something like this. But I've done everything in Notcry as well, so I see no reason to be there to be something that is locked. So, to start with, finally. And by the way, before I start with everything, I don't need to read his talents because I've already read them when I started leveling them. So I don't need to suffer today. It's just going to be lore. So, first things first, his name card. It looks so awesome though. Actually, this name card is one of the best ones I've seen. Wait, you can see his eyes here? That is so awesome. You know how Clorant is one of my 4 favorite characters? The one thing I don't like about her is her name card. I obviously have it on my main account, and I was so excited to get it. And then when I saw it, it just didn't make sense to me. This one though, the blues and purples, it's awesome. Okay. No time to waste. Flins, Oath Keeper's Lantern. Name card style. As the saying goes, will-o'-the-wisps are like love, most visible in the barren swamp, and just as likely to lead you into danger. Of course, the saying only relates to the natural phenomenon. Access card reward for reaching friendship level 10 with Flins. Are there will-o'-the-wisps in Genshin? Oh, there are, right? I mean, I actually have no idea if these count as this, but exactly here in Wuwang Hill, this is not Wuwang Hill. Oh no, I will have to climb so much. But in Wuwang Hill, there are all those, I don't know what else to call them other than will-o'-the-wisps. So is that what Flins' name card is referring to? I don't think I've seen anything similar in Notcry though. Wait. I wanted to show you. They're very high up. Interesting. There isn't like a special enemy or something like this for will-o'-the-wisps in Genshin as far as I know though, right? I was talking about these things. Or are these just some blue fire? Anyway, I'm not sure about that, but oh my, there are anecdotes today. Let's go to Flins' cemetery for starters and start with his story. Okay, let's go. Wait, why is this chef guy still here? I thought I finished his quest. Interesting. Never mind. Flins. Today is Flins. Okay. Let's go. Flins, voiced by Nick Olsen. Birthday, the 31st of October? That's actually so cool. Affiliation Lightkeepers, Moonwheel Electro, Constellation Laterna Vigilis. A Lightkeeper of Notcry, Guardian of a Lighthouse and Graveyard on a northern isle. An enigmatic gentleman, cultured and courtly. That he is. A bit manipulative too, but yeah. Okay. Okay. Character details. There is a small isle in the central southern region of Notcry that has earned the name Final Night Cemetery on account of its lonesome, dismal air. Few visit, and merchant caravans only sometimes loop far around it. Jutting above its soil is a lighthouse languishing in disuse, where only the spirits of the dead consent to dwell, it is said. Amidst the deathly silence, only one living soul remains. This gentleman tends to introduce himself as such. Flins, a warrior of the Lightkeepers, the awardee of a civilian commendation medal in recognition of his squad's efforts in repelling abyssal creatures. By the way, okay, everything is fine. You know how paranoid I am about my microphone. Okay. The incident he mentions happened a long time ago. Though no one had stepped forward to organize it, the people had wordlessly agreed to express their gratitude this way, and so the heavy medal had been delivered to him, placed in a time-worn box. A solemn reward, one might think, but considering the casualties from that operation, Flins believed that not even 10 medals could make the losses worthwhile. The squad once had 7 or 8 members, but now he was the only one left on the island. Wait, so that is something that happened after the huge tragedy then? Because on the island where he's stationed, there's so many ghosts. And there definitely far more than 7 or 8. So at some point he lost his entire squad, basically? Basically just like Liyue? Okay. Apart from occasional business and the odd monthly purchase, Flins rarely shows up in town. Fortunately, this has not stopped the townspeople from remembering him, for he was easier to communicate with than they had imagined. Even his dull, boring clothes are made memorable by his elegant, decorous speech. No wonder people are curious. Unexpected people and matters are always more eye-catching after all. Most talk to him out of curiosity, albeit restrained by politeness. Curious about his past, people of all sorts have invited him to join gatherings to share old Lightkeeper stories. These he tells splendidly, such that many gazes have drifted downward when he reaches the saddening segments of said tales. This has led to many audiences not being willing to touch on his old scars any further. Wait. Okay, Manif, Good night. I hope you rest well. And hi, Sivam. I hope you're having a lovely day. Wait, too many things happened at the same time. What do you mean, though clothes? Flins? Flins is awesome. Like, he can be a fashion model. Don't you think so? I never looked at him and thought, those dough clothes of Flins. How can he wear this? That's so weird. But okay, if they say so. The residents revere Flins's occasional sorrow, unaware that this sorrow is another manifestation of distance. The audience's guilt becoming the teller's shield. Once someone feels this sympathy, the various narratives they have heard will take on meaning, convincing people that his melancholy deserves time and space. Whether out of courtesy or concern, no one should continue to pick at a good person's wounds, surely. No one despises the good people around them. The residents feel this way, and so does Flins. He is fond of those who are both interested and sympathetic, just as people enjoy the heroic tales he repeatedly tells. From another perspective, viewing each other as good people is an exceptional social strategy. A well-told heroic narrative is always dazzling enough to conceal all the mysteries that lie behind it. This is actually... Now, with all of this, I want him to meet Clorant even more. Like her with her... Clorant with her game master role, making stories for people, and him with all this experience in the real world. They would be... I want to play with them. Like immediately. Flins could definitely be a model, but he seems to have a darker aura about him. Maybe that's why. Yeah, maybe. But in terms of clothes... Okay, he's now aura farming a lot. But wait, Flins. I mean... They're dark, but... They said specifically in his description that he has dough clothes. And... I don't see it. I think he has awesome design, to be honest. And this is not... Like, if he was going for a design that was those so people won't notice him, I wouldn't pick those clothes. Like, this is super conspicuous, let's be honest. Yehoda canonically can become a model? Wait, really? I did not know that, but, well, she is awesome, so, yeah. Okay. Introduction to Flins. Then, let's go to character story 1. Flins tells many stories, despite not being much of a storyteller. This image is far from, even contradictory to, the social identity he strives to maintain. For stories spark curiosity, and he doesn't want to spend too much time on curious visitors. Fortunately, he is a flexible fellow and doesn't feel depressed about the discrepancies in his real life. The old lighthouse's door would often be knocked upon in the misty mornings, to which Flins would feign having just woken up. Though there were many possibilities for who the visitor might be, he wasn't entirely without clues. The lonely island rarely saw visitors in general, so those willing to come by fell into a few categories. Those with unwavering determination, those seeking help, or those undaunted by trouble. Yahoda has been... Wait, sorry. Getting from Flint's story to Yahoda's life is super weird. Yahoda has been scouted by some NPCs for becoming a model. There is one in Notcry trying to hire her? Really? I think I have talked with everyone in Notcry, and I haven't seen this, so I've missed someone? Or is it an anecdote? Now I really want to know. Okay. Well, she will do a good job. She, with all those runnings over rooftops and such, I bet she will just slay it on the catwalk. Okay. Not many people fit these categories, so he could immediately think of the following individuals. First was Lauma, maiden of the Frostmoon Scions, who had come bearing a feast of the moon a few weeks prior. Despite his repeated refusals, claiming a lack of preference for dining at home and no capacity for establishing faith, she had nonetheless spent 20 minutes speaking to him. Yeah. Wait, so Lauma still doesn't know that Flins is Fae, right? She doesn't know that he can't even eat. Oh, poor guy. Lauma is definitely very determined in the things she does, so I feel sorry for you, Flins. I'm so sorry. Okay. That description is exclusive to Nefer. Ah! Okay. So when I read everything about Nefer, I will learn about this NPC as well. That's awesome. I don't think that Llama knows. There are many people who know about his condition. But it's basically Liyue, the Traveler, people like this, I guess. Probably Columbina as well because of how she can see things. But I guess Llama doesn't know if she brings him food. Okay. Where was I? Then, there was Yahoda, an employee of the Curatorium of Secrets Lady Boss. She affected the look of a capable sort while at the door, an image undercut by her having come because she had gotten lost upon arrival on the island. Indeed, by Flins having already saved her from falling off a cliff, completely unbeknownst to her. What? Okay, so I guess we have Yahoda alive because of Flins. That's very good to know. Poor thing. Then there was Varka, who had never spoken of his profession, but was widely recognized as a knight. That said, Flins's experience with him was most akin to that which he had with tourists, for Varka had once come to the lighthouse to borrow supplies after his luggage was knocked over in a battle with monsters near the island, and later came back by boat to return them. Yeah, that sounds right. Finally, there was Liyue, a fellow lightkeeper, a righteous young man who, worried that Flins might die alone on the island, far from their headquarters and human knowledge, regularly brought various supplies and work documents to check on him. That he did, but now he knows. Now he knows the truth, so I guess he at least won't bring him supplies. Flins opened the door to find an unfamiliar adventurer standing in front of the tower. Just the previous day, he had purchased a peculiar gemstone from this person at the general store. The seller had spent at least 10 minutes spinning tales to drive up the price of the stone. But they had met their match. Flins was a dab hand at both gemstone acquisition and crafting stories himself. In the end, they settled on a price 10% above market value, though the seller then hesitated, saying they needed some time to find a better box for the gemstone so it could be presented more elegantly to its new owner. The visitor appeared nervous and took a while before speaking. The shopkeeper said you've been collecting gems and ancient coins, so I must be honest about something. As you can probably tell, someone of my experience couldn't possibly obtain a gem of this caliber alone. According to my family's inherited notes, it was a gift from a noble to my ancestor, and it's extremely precious. I wouldn't be selling it if I weren't in financial difficulties. So, I'm feeling somewhat reluctant to part with it for good. Perhaps in their imagination, Flins, as the buyer, should have been angry at this point. So when he praised them instead, they were extremely surprised. A few minutes later, they had fully accepted that praise and left to continue their adventures, carrying both money and the confidence that they would surely make a name for themselves somewhere in the future. As for the previously discussed topics like, "You seem to know about this gem, Mr. Flynn, sir. Have you seen it before then?" And, "About that noble, sir. There isn't much written in my family's notes. Could you tell me more about it?" The adventurer had already put them out of their mind. The story of the jewel itself was long and plain. Little was lost by not hearing it. Besides, Flins did not want to talk about anything else today. He simply wanted to take a good look at this long-lost gem. Yeah, very on point with that very interesting trailer we got for him with that coin that the other guy wanted to take and Flins wanted to buy, but the guy didn't want to sell, and then he was so gentlemanly about it. Yep. Okay, the only interesting thing here, aside from Lauma definitely not knowing about him, was that he saved Yahoda. Interesting. So Yahoda actually would have died at least twice. First by falling from the cliff and getting saved by Flins, and then with Rerir when Colombina saved her. She is very lucky. Okay. Let's go. Character Story 2. Liyue was standing outside the door. Flins poured out 2 glasses of water and brought a pot over. Liyue watched him curiously. 2 glasses? I'm guessing they're both for me? Dear young Master Liyue, you have traveled a long way. Is it not natural that you should have 2 cups of water? Indeed, you may have a 3rd, or even a 4th. The pot is full. Yahoda is the opposite of Bennett in terms of luck. It does seem so. Although, this is not something that I have read anywhere or seen a theory about it or anything like this. It's just what I've always imagined in my head, but I always thought that Klee was the opposite of Bennett for luck. Like, she has the 4-leaf clover for her constellation, right? And she's protected so much that she doesn't even need luck. I don't know if that makes sense, but for me, she has always been the opposite of Bennett. Okay, Mr. Flins, always snarky. Well, not snarky, but you know what I mean. Okay. Not going to drink any? Liyue asked. I'm not thirsty. Liyue continued with this topic, as if there were nothing more normal in the world. You never get thirsty easily, and drinking alcohol seems more like a ritual than interest to you. Would it be that you prefer drinking plain, tasteless water? Of course not, Flins thought. He detested tasteless water the most, oh no. Who again, Furina? No, I was talking about Klee, because of her constellation. Wait. Flins and Neuvillette are not going to get on together. Like, can you imagine Flins telling this to Neuvillette? Who is going to win? A fae versus a dragon? That will be very interesting to watch. Oh, okay. Flins against Neuvillette definitely coming one day. However, he maintained his composure, brought over chairs, and they sat side by side in front of the lighthouse, basking in the sunlight. Last month, my colleagues asked me if you dislike sunlight, since you only seem to be active at night. They also asked when the last time you contacted the old man was. Also, why does everyone say they never see you come by, yet we hear that you not only visited but left without a trace? Dragon would definitely win. Yeah. Lore-wise, Neuvillette should wash him over with his tasteless water. Ah, poor Flins. I wonder if Neuvillette would hate the Archons more, or Flins for detesting water and calling it tasteless. Okay. Where was I? Yes. Well, now you can see me, just sitting here idly at the lighthouse entrance. Flins glanced inside the tower. My, you drink so quickly. My hospitality is lacking, it seems. Perhaps I should have bought you a whole bucket instead. It's been a long and tiring journey, as you said. Besides, if I didn't come running along every so often, this place of yours would wind up feeling too lifeless. And also, we need to sync up mission details with you. These words don't quite mean what they appear to. Just like this day you speak of may not even exist. All these questions are ones you wish to ask in truth. Isn't that right, young master? Alright, let's go with this one then. Why do you call me young master? You're clever and capable, and you know how to ask questions in a roundabout way, wrapping your curiosity in such politeness that no one feels offended. Your social graces would do nobility no shame, and so you've earned a suitable title. And if I'm a young master, what kind of a person would be called a lord? Please tell me more about that noble story you didn't finish last time, sir. All right. Last time, We spoke of the era when the bellied Tsar yet ruled, when the nobles were besotted with their balls and banquets. In those days, sociability was a currency most sought after. Such events not only exposed people to new knowledge, but also provided opportunities for, amongst other things, treasure and fine wine to be purchased. There were always some at the edge of this merrymaking who never danced, and they were more often not those here to find something special. Amongst such people were many whom one might call lords. Why do those social occasions you mentioned sounded like some resale market? And why would it not? The attendees are the same old faces. Friends might be second-hand, dance partners too, and antiques likewise. And grand gestures are not necessarily needed to acquire treasure. One could bet not on how many rounds it might take for a person to get drunk and win an item for some collection for betting well. And what would that reward be? Who knows? People tend to see only what they wish to, and everyone names different prizes. However, the day prior, someone claimed that his ancestor had once attended the Deep Winter Cocktail Ball. Quite a distant event that. He then made a bet with a noble lord of the Fae who had little interest in the party, wagering that the dancer would get drunk before they had emptied their 5th cup. He won, and thus obtained a gem from said noble lord, who rather admired those of keen intellect. As he spoke, Flins gestured for Liyue to look at his palm. A brilliant, ice-blue gemstone lay there. I'm guessing you just received this? What a fine piece of merchandise it is. Call me an overthinker, but I get the feeling that your pile of stories is being prepared for second-hand resale at some point. Dear me, no. I would not sell it for money, no matter how dire our organization's financial straits. In any case, I doubt it rates too high in your eyes, young master. If it were so valuable, would that noble truly have given it away? Or are you suggesting that the Fae nobles of Snezhnaya were so high-minded that they would all accept defeat with grace? Hard to say, I fear. But a noble who valiantly honors their word could never have been too evil. Having said this much, Flins gestured toward the inside of the door. I really should bring that bucket over, young master. You look like the phantom of one who died of thirst. I barely read that last part with a straight face. Flins is very savage. To everyone, I love it so much. Interesting. So this was actually the story that was alluded to in the first part about the gem he received from the noble. And this has definitely happened long before the events in Notcry. Because now, Liyue knows. He knows that Flins is a Fae and that he can't eat or drink. Well, he doesn't need to, basically. And still, the funniest part is the part about Nouvillette that will hate him for sure. How can he be so rude to water? Water is important, isn't it? What else? The Fey nobles as honorable Fey. Interesting. I wonder how many Fey there will be in Snezhnaya. The character that is coming next, Linnea, is also Fey, right? And if here there are only 2, I wonder how many have survived in mainland Snezhnaya. I guess we will see soon enough. And also we'll see if they're honorable or not. Okay, let's go. This was number 2. Okay, number 3. Oh wait, my voice is already dying, which is not good. I'm sorry, skeleton jigsaw? Okay, that will be interesting to see. Linnea, you can already see her drip marketing. She's super cute. She has those very unneeded wings on her head. Like, you can fly with those, but they're very cute. And she's going to be a support for Geocrystallize. And I think people are saying that she's going to be broken. But to be honest, I haven't really delved into that. It's just what I got from thumbnails. So yeah. But she looks very cute. I can't get her though. I've been having so many characters I want on my main account that... besides, I still don't know her story. We'll see if she'll become a must-pull for me. Okay, let's go. Character story 3. If you were curious and observed all this, you would inevitably wonder, was Flins telling the truth? The answer is no. Oh, Sivam for Navia? Good luck, good luck. I hope you get your Navia to be super strong. Okay, where was I? The answer is no. But when asked if he was lying, the answer would, surprisingly, also be no. That which he spoke of, rather than a lie, should be considered a legend, of which not all was told. For protagonists of legend, though marvelous indeed, did not always leave behind names. Let us return first to the time of the Beli Tsar and that ball. The Fey noble who showed little interest in the banquet and ultimately gave the jewel away on the pretext of losing a bet was named Kirill Chudomirovich Flins. So he basically was explaining that he himself is not evil. Very good, Flins. That is awesome. Okay, I love this. The way it's written is just... This is my style. This is what I love for writing. Oh my Sivam, your Navia sounds awesome. That's ridiculous. 200, 300k for a single hit? That's awesome. I wonder what you would do with Linnea. Okay, Mr. Flins, I know that you're not evil. You don't need to spin such elaborate stories for me. But please continue. The recipient was Sokolov, a complete nobody from southern Snezhnaya, whose descendants would later become members of the Adventurers Guild. The only connection between the two wholly unrelated parties was the Tsar of the North, said to have been formed from the courage of Snezhnayan soldiers fighting in the northern territories, capable of protecting its bearer. Kirill received it in the days when the Tsar bestowed many gifts upon the nobles, and after he gave it away, Kirill himself vanished without a trace. Interesting. This is the first time Flins is actually referred to with his first name, Kirill. I don't know if you know this, but you know that there is a Cyrillic, right? Like in Bulgaria, in Russia, in many countries, people use the Cyrillic to write instead of, well, the English alphabet. And the person who is actually responsible for it is Kirill. So it is very interesting that they have put this name here. There haven't been any references to Flins with any alphabets or writings until now. So I do wonder if they've chosen this name simply because it's very Slavic, or there is something more behind this. Hi Vansh, I hope you're having a lovely day. Okay. Mr. Flins, let's continue. Local legends have it that the noble who vanished, Kirill, the Azure Flame, was originally a blue flame that guided fallen souls across the icy plains. A flame will eventually go out, and while Kirill did not stay at court for long, he was present for the transition of power from the Beli Tsar to the Tsaritsa. There are only so many reasons for his departure. Dissatisfaction with the Tsar, or with the Tsaritsa, or perhaps he said something he shouldn't have and was purged for it. Some even say that his disappearance has nothing to do with politics, that his fire simply went out, having reached the end of its natural lifespan, and thus was never seen again. Not everything has to do with politics, so such people say. Could anyone put a number on the happenings at court, in any case? Interesting. I obviously still haven't looked at his voice lines, but I'll be very interested to see what he says about the Tsaritsa. Actually, about the Tsar as well. I wouldn't believe him, but I would be interested to see. Oh my Vans, okay, have a nice night then. Good night and see you another time. Okay, let's continue. This will be very interesting to hear in the voice lines. Okay. Kirill Chudomirovich Flins's family crest and surname remain in the register of Snezhnayan nobility. He once was a member of the royal court, but never had any followers of his own. Gradually, the flames of Snezhnaya were completely replaced by red ones, and the regions that once enshrined blue flames also fell one by one. People eventually accepted the red flames burning across the icy plains, just as they accepted the new regime. Flins the Ratnik had once heard these tales of Kirill. He clapped his hands, praising the mystifying atmosphere that had to be created to set the stage for a legendary tale, claiming that hearing interesting stories was one of his driving motivations for collecting ancient coins and gems. He has never been stingy with showcasing his collection, and indeed, Nikita, chief of the Lightkeepers, has had the fortune of viewing it before. But Flins often says that the collector's hobby is not expensive. I think people who collect figurines from games or from anime are going to disagree so hard with Flins about this. People who collect characters in gacha games as well, I bet they would disagree too. Why is your hobby not expensive, Flins? Do you just wait for people to die and then pick their things? Okay. People think so because they only see the shocking prices the most famous gems fetch, without realizing that those are the rarest of specimens. The vast majority command no such great sums. Take the Tear of the North from the story, for instance, which happened to be in Flins's possession. A happy coincidence, of course. It was beautifully transparent, yes, but it lost out to a still more storied gemstone due to its lack of added value. The recipient, Sokolov, had considered selling it, but couldn't get a good price. The gem had then passed through who knows how many generations before finally fetching a decent sum. As for Kirill, the noble repeatedly mentioned in the tale, well, were there ever such a noble, he most likely departed due to displeasure with the regime change. Where he had gone was of little importance to the people of this world. Legend has it, after all, that Snezhnayans held no one to be indispensable, save the Tsar and Tsaritsa in those days. So, if Kirill were at divergence with some policy or another, departure was perhaps his best option. That's a very interesting way to say that if he had stayed, he had been deleted from this plane of existence. Interesting. Why? The thing that was most interesting to me here was the change of flames. To change from blue flames to red ones. I don't know where this was, but there was something explaining that there are great furnaces in Snezhnaya that keep the place warm. I wonder if those red flames are supposed to be this artificial way of heating the place. And the blue ones were probably the Fae flames, no? There are already so many questions about Snezhnaya. Can you believe that in this patch we actually talk about this? I mean, not about this specifically, but about Snezhnaya with Venti at the event? And he tells us already that that's our next stop? It's so close. I wonder if Flins will get some kind of action during the Snezhnayan Archon quests. If he was basically excommunicated, would he even want to do anything with Snezhnaya? That will all be very interesting to check. Okay, let's go. Character Story 4. Time slows to a crawl during the night watch. With nothing else to do, the Rataniki guarding the camp gradually developed a habit of passing the time with cards and chess. When Flins came to submit a report to the sergeant major, he happened upon comrades of his gathered together, not yet asleep. He stood at the side and watched, a look of great interest on his face. After more than an hour, his colleagues finally noticed someone in the darkness beside them. After recovering from their shock, they decided that their lighthouse keeper colleague must not be skilled at cards, and enthusiastically offered to teach him over a few rounds. That seems like a very bad choice on their part. I bet he can lie and bluff so well. But let's see. Flins played the part every well-mannered, reserved card game novice should. First declining, then taking a seat at the table, performing curiosity and restraint with utmost authenticity. Oh no! He already knew everything. He was already a master before they even invited him. Oh, I hope at least he didn't take their money. Maybe that's why he can get all those gems after all. As far as they were concerned, it was perfectly normal for a newcomer to lose a few rounds at the card table. However, what happened next was quite strange. Whether novice or veteran, everyone seemed to lose their sense of judgment that night. Excuse me, I need just 1 minute. Sorry, my throat was very, very bad. Okay, let's continue. Their battle set the scoreboard ablaze, deadlock reigning over all as the game dragged on. This Flins was a fine fellow Ratnik, certainly, but how could he hold out for so long without losing? The veterans frowned, quietly gathering behind him to peek at his hand. But at that moment, Flins, his mask of sincerity flawless, played 2 somewhat subpar cards, even as he praised card games for testing one's tactical acumen. At this point, his colleagues finally breathed a sigh of relief. He'd lost. Well, losing to Olaf was no surprise, but he'd played decently earlier. Could it be that he wasn't a beginner after all? Who were his unusual card game partners in that case? The frogs, stones, and spirits lingering by the lighthouse? Flins stood up to shake hands with his opponent, the apologetic look on his face seeming far from feigned. Mr. Olaf, I accept my defeat wholeheartedly. Your card skills are truly remarkable, and although this was just one game, your spirit and demeanor speak for themselves. If you ask me, it's already a great honor that you were willing to play against a novice like me. Really? Olaf happily stepped forward and firmly shook his hand. That wasn't an easy win, I must say. Your luck was truly formidable. How else could I have survived until now? Flynn spoke subtly, with just a hint of sorrow in his words. Everyone then recalled that brutal battle, and they patted him on the shoulder, comforting this brother who must surely have once had to mourn his fallen comrades alone in the dead of night. Brother, take this deck of cards with you. We'll keep a seat for you too. Come back and play with us when you have time," his colleagues said. "I am afraid this pastime does not entirely agree with me." Flynn smiled politely, but accepted the gift nonetheless. He stayed quite late that night, and when he left the next day, a misty pink hue covered on the horizon. Olaf saw him off, and there they happened to run into Nikita and Liyue, who were returning to camp after completing their mission. Flins stopped beside them with his lantern, nodding respectfully. Nikita glanced at Olaf and understood at once. "Play the cards together, did you?" Indeed. Indeed. Just joining in the fun, you see. I was given a deck of cards, too. Would you be up for a game, Liyue?" Next time at the lighthouse, probably." Liyue smiled. "You know, that was just saying he hasn't seen you in a while, by the by." Nikita suddenly asked Flins, "Did you learn anything?" Standing off to the side, Liyue thought this question was abrupt, yet interesting. What could a card game reveal? Had Olaf been slacking off? In his mind, Flins, who had never been the sneaky sort, was suddenly more mysterious than any ghost. How could there be a ratnik who had never played cards before? Flins lifted his lantern, the blue flame illuminating Olaf's face. For the first time, Olaf suddenly found something strange. The flame in Flins's lantern had always been cold blue, yet he had never seen anyone else purchase a similar one. What kind of fuel did Flins use? "Mr. Olaf, I believe, is a most patient and composed gentleman. He never once complained about my slow card play, and I suspect he's quite the skilled hand in the field, using stillness to overcome movement, steadily achieving victory. Such traits surely manifest beyond the realm of card games." "Ah," Olaf thought, deeply moved. Surely Flins meant what he said. A dab hand at identifying other strengths, indeed. Nikita looked at Olaf earnestly, bringing to his mind the last time they had had such a conversation. They had been discussing work assignments, and Nikita had suggested that he take up the challenge of becoming a squad leader. "Even someone who's only played one game of cards white you says so, Olaf. You should have more trust in my judgment, no?" Nikita said. A comical situation often arises when many people discuss the same thing, where those who know each other too well are, in fact, less likely to adopt each other's suggestions wholesale. At such times, an unfamiliar voice's interjection can simplify matters. This was one such moment, for Olaf now grew in confidence. Nikita was right, surely. Why wouldn't he be an excellent tactician? After all, even Flins, distant as he was at his lighthouse posting, could see that. Nikita visited the lighthouse a few days later. He had come specifically to thank Flins. Olaf had always lacked that last bit of courage needed to push forward, and Flins's loss at cards had proved most fortuitous. "Ah, you did me a favor!" Nikita brought him some supplies. "Take these. Even if you don't need them, they can help you keep up the pretense." Pretending might just become my favorite thing to do, Flins took out the cards his colleagues had given him. Interested? The card game proved a drawn-out affair. Nikita struggled mightily, while Flins was clearly enjoying himself. I hope my gratitude is evident. I mean, I'm even playing against a former noble in a card game his people excelled at. Nikita smiled wryly. Which is harder then? Winning at cards or pretending you can't win? Both are easier than pretending to be an ordinary person. Flins played the card. Sorry, I win again. Of course. Okay. It was obvious that he was going to be proficient at the card game. I do wonder, however, what kind of a card game this is. Because this cannot be TCG, right? I mean Genius Invocation TCG. Because that was developed in Sumeru much later? No? That's at least what I think happened. So I wonder if they were playing cards more reminiscent of what we play in the real world. And of course he played the poor Olaf. No surprises there. I wonder when Nikita found out about him though. He definitely knew even before we came to Not Cry, but I do wonder when he realized what Flins actually was. Okay, just 3 more things to go. And then my voice will rest, because I will just have to listen to his conversations. Character story 5. Wait. Oh my Sivam, congratulations! I gave up. I couldn't even get 1 star on the 12th floor. Congratulations for finishing completely the abyss. That's awesome. Okay, let's go. Number 5. Kiryu Chudomirovich Flins is a fine name. Kiryu might be used to claim some noble standing worth noting, while Flins is not so ancient and not too special. All the better to claim mere coincidence should anyone notice some shared nomenclature. The person himself is most pleased with this name and has used it in various ways up till the present. The noble Kiryu did indeed leave Snezhnaya. The wise believe that there is nothing new under the sun. And tales of nobles choosing self-imposed exile when powerless to change the political picture are old hat indeed. To say that Kiryu has lived twice is no boast either. If one views sleep as death and awakening as new life gained, this too is nothing new. His slumber began in a corner of a distant land. His self-imposed exile had set him free, and having lost his anchor, he traveled southward along the railway, through endless snowy plains, through prosperous towns, and across desolate frontier lands. He was without a care. He had no destination, nor anything he had to do. The humans passing him by were quite the opposite. As latecomers to Snezhnaya, they had too many desires to fulfill in a few mere decades of life. They were always in a hurry, planning out better lives and hoping to achieve great things in this new era. But Kiryu had long felt that he might not belong to such a time. It was under the lighthouse on a small isle that Kiryu the Azure Flame found his destined tomb. though one might also call it a bed to his liking, or a most lovable coffin. He had never intended to end his own life, merely to casually toast this monotonous world once, then go to sleep. He recalled the cocktail parties of yesteryear, of his noble colleagues gathering to discuss some past questions. At the time, most Fae lamented the transfer of imperial power and wished for some river of youth springing eternal that might preserve the authority of Snezhnaya Imperium forevermore. What do they mean here? To casually toast this monotonous world and then go to sleep? Did he actually plan to burn the world with his flames? That... Flins, please just be funny and savage. Don't destroy the world, please. Okay. Let's continue. They spoke of immortality and eternity, with longing and envy in their voices, much like humans would discuss their Fae lives. Kirill was unsure as to how he had responded then, but he might have said, to never again fear anything. How could such serenity possibly exist within the confines of a finite life? Flins is low-key scary? Absolutely. Also, I find it very, very interesting that here the Fae are talking about eternity, and the Tsaritsa herself, isn't she, or at least her subordinates, trying to cover the whole of Teyvat with ice? At least that's the sense I'm getting from that trailer with all the fatui with La Signora's funeral. And yet, the Archon of Eternity is actually Raiden. The one that is represented by lightning that flashes in a second and disappears. They do say the ones who joke often hide the darkest secrets. Yeah, I'm glad that he decided not to burn the world. The Tore might still want to do that, but we'll see. Okay. Atop a stone altar, Kirill transformed into a ball of fire and sank beneath the earth, beginning a slumber that would last hundreds of years. As his eyes closed, a thought suddenly came to mind. If he never returned to the mortal realm, and instead stretched himself infinitely within his finite time through self-imposed exile, then this sleep would become eternity. Eternity, precious beyond price, found by one who had cast himself out. Imagine that. Isn't that what basically Raiden A did with the plane of Euthymia? Not exactly existing per se, just barely there for hundreds of years. Is that really existing? Even if it's for eternity? Kirill's slumber was no trivial matter. He made thorough preparations for it, selecting stone slates and laying down an altar, sealing himself in using the most ancient rituals. No mean price would it take to reawakening this flame, and its location, rarely visited by humans, made it less likely to be disturbed. However, this foolproof tranquility, this death-like slumber, ultimately vanished in the thunder of a rainy night. The soft sound of blood splattering upon the paving, the dull noise of metal cutting through flesh, the din of sharpened claws piercing bodies and striking against stone slates. Kiryu could not help but be awakened. Though hundreds of years had passed, his hearing remained as sharp as ever. Above his resting place, a unit of those named Lightkeepers battled the abyssal wild hunt. Newly awakened from his deep slumber, Kiryu was indifferent to this. Not a single tongue of outer flame flickered. Had he been in human form, he would not have been seen to lift even an eyelid. That's so cold. And so different from who he is right now. That was a moment the Snezhnayan rumors mocked. Souls wandering the ancient frozen earth shall ultimately be guided to the far shore by blue ghost fires. Even with his eyes closed, Kiryu could witness that scene. Warm body, warm human blood seeping into the stone altar like some grand and ancient ritual. A mortally wounded warrior collapsing upon the sacrificial sanctum and tracing the symbols on the stone slate with fresh blood. The warrior understood nothing of the face script written upon it, nor could a person at the death's door confirm if the lifeline before them was timely come or not. So, with his final breath, he prayed, beseeching any who could hear to descend upon this place and scatter the storm cloud of death and despair rolling toward them. Kiryu must have smiled at that moment. The fears the nobles harbored had, in the end, borne fruit. How could such a lasting dream exist in this world? Blood and souls had paid the price, and the azure flame was now reawakened. This should have been a grand, glorious moment, but the moribund supplicant knew it now. Nor the distant monsters or the deceased. Indeed, most who would recognize that blazing fire had themselves passed on long ago. Such was the end of Kiryu's slumber, of which he had expected much, in this silent place of death. A colossal blaze scorched the skies as it erupted from the small island. How could serenity possibly exist within the confines of a finite life? Only death, glimpsed through the blue flames, is real. Flins is getting cooler and cooler. The fact that he couldn't even bat an eyelid in the very beginning when blood was being splattered on his altar until finally something moved in him and made him wake up. So interesting to see that he basically had to choose to actually become a protector of humankind. Right now, in this day and age with the Traveler, he We've seen him fight with Rerir, fight the Wild Hunt time and time again. And yet, the first time he saw the blood or felt the blood of those being killed by it, he was like, nah, 5 more minutes of sleep. It's ridiculous. I wonder why he was like this. If he was truly noble and in Snezhnaya, how incredibly hurt must he have been to close his eyes to the suffering of those around him, even for a minute. I really hope that when we get to Snezhnaya, we understand even more about him and why he decided to leave that place. Okay, that was the last story. Now it's only the 2 items. Skeleton Jigsaw. One room inside the lighthouse at the Final Night Cemetery has been converted into a showroom. Most of the space is filled with Lightkeeper-related records, mainly consisting of hefty files and documents. Sivam, it reminds you about Rosaria? I actually don't know that much about her, to be honest. So, I will look forward to learning her lore very nicely in the future. But if that's true what you say, I mean, she's an awesome character even without it, but it makes me even more interested in her. Okay, let's go. The Skeleton Jigsaw. If you're fortunate enough to receive the owner's permission and open these boxes, you will discover his rather peculiar private collection. The Skeleton Jigsaws. Each puzzle set consists of miniature skeletons Flins had meticulously carved by hand. The materials are quite diverse. Fangs from beasts, fossilized bones of ancient creatures collected from ruins, and of course, purely sterilized monster carapaces from the occasional capture. I remember when I first learned about this hobby of Flins. Oh, Sivam, I would love to learn a bit. You can save the most spicy thing, but you can tell me the rest. How about it? Okay. Let's go. As for the final, reassembled products, they're based on the various monsters he has encountered in Notcry. For him, this is not just a game, but also a way to organize and review his post-battle experiences. Picking up an almost completed model, he will slowly rotate it under the light, as if appreciating a work of art. Each component is an answer to a moment in combat. Thus, piecing them together is like transforming a bloody encounter in his mind into an orderly, interpretable, and elegant simulation. Once the model is perfectly assembled, Flins will contentedly place it in its box, affixing a label bearing the date and opponent. Another question has been thoroughly understood and solved, putting him in a good mood. These are his skeleton jigsaws, both a pastime and blades he wields to dissect the Wild Hunt. Yes, Flins. Whatever makes you happy, as long as you don't burn the world. Okay, and last but not least, Moonwheel. The young Ratnik Liyue encountered the mysterious Mr. Flins while following orders from Starshina Nikita to conduct business in Nasha Town. Flins had a brilliant gemstone pinned to his solemn, dark outer clothing, a no too eye-catching accessory in that tiny shop. Liyue's first glance thus fell not on the man himself, but on the gem. Mr. Flins? You must have quite a sum in savings. Otherwise, such a gem must have been hard to come in by indeed. Oh, this? I got it on... Sorry, the voice came completely wrong. I can't make Flins's voice either way. Oh, this? I got it at an auction. It just looks pretty. Remember the story I told you? Some gems are all show and no substance. They can't fetch a high price at all. Did no one bid against you? Well, most people don't know a good thing when they see it, for which I'm grateful. There'd be no need for me to attend auctions otherwise, I suspect. Well, all the less reason to believe you don't have savings. Might you have had a distant relative who left you a large sum of money? Flins's face grew grave. I hope you can keep this a secret, good sir. This must not be revealed to anyone, especially to our colleagues. Being kind-hearted by nature, especially in front of others, Liyue felt proud to keep his colleagues' secret and readily agreed. However, months later, Liyue found himself quite troubled by the sense that he had been completely taken for a ride. The city auction house claimed that they had never seen a gem of that description before, and that Flins had not attended one of their events in quite some time. You spun me a yarn, didn't you, Mr. Flins? The auction house says that they haven't had any fine gems come in recently. Flins raised his pot of water. First, have a little water to cool your temper. I never expected you to go ask around. Should I say that you consider me a friend or that you don't... either way. Wait. Who is talking here? I think it's Liyue. Either way, not every secret shared is it... is it Flins? I think it's Liyue. It has to be Liyue. Either way, not every secret shared is the truth. No, that was Flins. Oh my, it's so confusing. Should I say that you consider me a friend, or that you don't? Either way, not every secret shared is the truth. Is it gemstones you'd like then? Perhaps my distant relatives still have some in stock. I'd like to give my oath... No, it was the opposite way. Oh my. I'm not reading it again. I'd like to give my old pops Nikita a valuable gift. He's taken good care of me since I was little, you see, Liyue confessed. Now, that might take some time. But I suspect you will obtain something similarly good sooner or later. Having distant relatives comes forth with gifts. That sort of thing will likely happen to you too. Rosario was basically abducted as a child? And her whole village slaughtered? She was then thought to be an assassin? Okay, I have only one question, because now I'm super curious. That village, was it in Mondstadt? Or outside of Mondstadt? And if it was in Mondstadt, where? My voice is dying out, yeah. But this is the last part. After this is just listening. It's been an hour and a half of me just reading, so yeah, it's tough. Where was I? Thus, it was that Flins shared the true origin of the moon wheel with a cup of water and moonlight at night. A thing he rarely did. It had come to him on a night like any other, appearing suddenly in his showroom. At first, he, like Liyue that day, believed that this might be some gemstone he had forgotten about. In truth, it was the best gift the world had ever given him. An unexpected gift indeed. Its style perfectly matched his coat, provided the perfect cover for his power and flames, and served as a conversation piece to share with colleagues as the sun set. As to whether Liyue believed his words or when he might gain a gemstone of his own, well, that was up to his up-and-coming young fellow to figure out. Slowly does it, and all that. Wait, it was said to be an unnamed mountain village outside of Mondstadt. Interesting. It's very interesting how there's so many characters outside of that come to Mondstadt one way or another. Like how Bennett found his way to Mondstadt, for example. I would love to read her lore one day. Okay, but for today, I don't know if I should believe this part. He says that it just suddenly appeared in his showroom. It could be connected with his puzzles that he makes, but I kind of feel like he's lying. And it still doesn't explain why even receive it as a fae? Oh, Flins, there's the way he lies in all of his stories. I never know what to think is true and what is not. Still so many questions about him. Okay, my voice is really dying. So, and also, I was very optimistic about today's stream that I'll be able to do everything about Flins and then do even more things. But this is just Flins. Let's listen to all his voice lines so I can rest a bit.
Greetings. I am Kirill Chudomirovich Flins. It is considered good etiquette to give my full name when greeting important guests. But this no doubt leaves you wondering what to call me on a day-to-day basis. Well, in the past, I was customarily addressed as Chudomirovich by most. But for simplicity's sake, you can just call me Flins.
Wait.
That's my surname.
Sorry. Who called him Chudomirovich? The Lightkeepers in the past? Because when he was a noble, it was Kirill, right? And now it's Flins. Interesting. Okay. Patience.
Let us have a modicum of patience for the richness and complexity of humanity. The wanton cruelty of the few is not worth our ire.
This is the line I listen to every single day on the Bookworm Challenge.
He who wishes to peer into the abyss needs simply to wander through Nodcry on a misty night. The march of the wild hunt will be sure to drag him into the darkness.
And this one, the wild hunt, yeah. Okay, Flins. I know these things. Let's go. Ghosts.
People ought not be so frightened of ghosts. They are merely talking shadows, chattering away endlessly about their past affairs.
Yeah, another one. This is the third one that I listen to every day here. When it rains.
You look worried. Relax. It takes more than a little rainfall to extinguish my lamp.
Honestly, I know so many of these by heart already.
Listen. That, my friend, is the world's original symphony. No instrument could ever replicate the sheer power and grandeur of thunder.
Okay, he will get along well with Raiden. Maybe he should go there and skip Fontaine if he goes on an expedition. Okay. Oh, I know this one about snow.
Each time the snow falls, that is the call of Snezhnaya, the land whence I hail.
Yeah. I wonder, though, if that is a reference to the fact that the Tsaritsa would basically want the whole world to be covered in ice. But yeah, when the wind is blowing.
The winds awaken, the leaves whirl round.
He can talk with Kazuha as well. Listen to these voice lines while you're on Flins. Oh, but you play in Japanese? That's awesome. You can understand how the other are incomprehensible for your ears. Oh, when I first started watching anime, it was the same for me. Like, little by little, I started catching many words, but still so much was like incomprehensible. I should start playing Genshin in Japanese, to be honest. I need to get back on studying Japanese a bit because my Japanese is getting very, very bad these years. Have I taken him to the desert ever? In the desert.
And orange snow dances in the air? So this is the fabled desert.
Orange snow! Oh no! Oh. Okay. I'll remember this. Good morning.
Ah, good morning. The sun illuminates the land as another day dawns in Nodcry. Many centuries have gone by, yet each day begins just like the last.
Spoken like a true fae that never dies. Good afternoon.
Afternoon. I'm not personally in the habit of taking an afternoon nap, but don't let that stop you, should you feel so inclined.
Every single line of his is like so polite, but so condescending and so rude at the same time. Good evening.
I prefer to be active during the night. The purpose of a lamp is to shine light into the darkness, is it not?
It is. You're right, Flins. Good night.
Midnight is when I come into my own. Since you aren't ready to retire and the moon has not yet assumed its position in the sky, perhaps I could tell you some ancient stories to pass the time.
I would accept every single time. I mean, I would not believe half of the tales, but I would love to listen to them. About Flynn's virtues.
Prudence, modesty, and loyalty. These are the three cardinal virtues of the Lightkeepers, and I highly approve.
Me too. About Flynn's Ratnik.
Every living being, human and fae alike, needs some sort of an identity. It is what helps us to find our place in the world. The Lightkeepers swear to keep the light of humanity burning in the cold, dark nights where monsters run amok. I happen to be nocturnally inclined myself, and I can certainly strike some measure of fear into other less benign creatures of the night. So, the role of Ratnik suits me perfectly.
When I was younger, I wish I knew this line because I would have used it so much that I was nocturnally inclined. Not anymore though. I need my sleep. Let's go. About us. Company.
It is an honor to have the company of your distinguished self for this part of my journey. Night is falling. Since I can't hold a candle to you, perhaps this lamp will do the trick.
Oh, thank you. About us. Fae and humans.
We seem to have covered quite some distance together. I am reminded of an age when both the Fae and humans roamed free in Snezhnaya. Our races share many things in common, and I once presumed that we must share a similar ancestry. Now, I believe that what truly unites us is a common spirit. The spirit that gives rise to all things good and kind.
This is something that I've actually been very interested in lately. What is the difference between humans, between AI, Fae, dragons? How different are they actually from one another? Because the biggest difference, I would say, from what we have seen until now, is the label. Like, if you're not a human, as a labeled, you cannot take part in Nico's trial in the Archon quest. And yet, you don't really need to be human to be so many things. Inefa has the capabilities to care for Aino and even for others. She's capable of even risking her life for people that she doesn't even know so well. Everyone in Notcry. And I would say that many of the AI dragons that we meet in Natlan also have very human qualities to them. Being wrong about things, admitting when they're wrong, or declining to admit when they're wrong, and so much more. And now that he's talking about spirit, does that mean that everyone in Teyvat has a spirit? Or a soul? No matter what they are truly, like human, AI, and so on? These are all so many questions that I have. But anyway, about the moon wheel.
No, the Fae don't need moon wheels. We have our own methods. But I quite like the design, which goes nicely with my black overcoat. Plus, it gives a convenient cover story for the power I wield. I've never been one to refuse tools such as this that help me blend in more seamlessly to my homeland.
He's a bit of a diva. Look at it, it goes so well with my outfit. Flins, I don't believe your story about how you got the vision, so please either give me proof or share the truth. Something to share.
Have you ever asked people in Nodcry how they ended up here? I have. Most of them didn't choose it because it's a comfortable place to live or because they dream of what their life here could be like. No, this is but a rest stop where weary travelers can find some brief respite from the snowstorm. Hardly the kind of place that makes people feel as if they belong. And so any traveler who stops in Nodcry is sure to leave once they are rested and recovered. The next stop on your journey is Snezhnaya, no doubt. The snowy plains there are simply beautiful. I wish you a safe trip.
I do think that many people feel at home in Notcray. But also, for the traveler, yes. She is just passing by, and next stop is Snezhnaya. And I'm very, very excited to see the snowy plains. Like, Dragonspine is already so beautiful. I wonder how Snezhnaya will look like. Interesting things.
A lost civilization deep underground in Inazuma. And these shades of Tokoyo, they are the last vestiges of its erstwhile inhabitants. How intriguing. If the chance ever arises, I would certainly like to see it.
Actually, yeah, I would like to see him meet them as well. About Lauma.
Hyperborea, the bygone golden Elysium. That is what comes to mind whenever I see her. Her ancient and noble lineage are no doubt as heavy a burden to bear as the stunning antlers she wears on her head. And yet she takes it all in her stride. I commend her resilience and courage in doing so.
It doesn't mention the fact that Lauma came to give him food and make him join. Okay, Flins. About Ilua.
Members of the Lightkeepers are under no obligation to stay, and many do in fact leave shortly after joining. Only the most determined persevere, and Itlua is one such example. It is common to admire those who display wit and cunning, but to me, determination is a far more valuable quality.
Yeah, I also admire Ilua after his quest. I imagine Snezhnaya to be plain lands filled with snow, snowstorms blocking your view, and frozen lakes. Honestly, all of these sound awesome to me. I want snow. And lots of it. I'm not sure I want the freezing mechanic though, so... you know, I mean, it will be cool. I will suffer, but it will be cool. We'll see. It's getting so close. I can't believe it. Okay, about Aino.
I must confess that I do not deal well with machines. This, and not the age difference, is the biggest point of disparity between myself and Aino.
But you can manipulate her with such a ease. About Varka.
You shan't catch me crossing blades with Varka. There's simply no contest. No sword in the world has a sharper bite than the north wind. Now, you might think that the allusion to one of the fiercest forces in nature's arsenal is pure hyperbole. But I tell you, he is a true knight, the likes of which are rarely seen in this day and age. If I ever have the chance to spar with him, it will be a sure sign that I'm going up in the world.
Okay. Would you though, Flins? I don't know why, but Flins doesn't strike me as the guy who spars with people. It's like he has already so many interests and he fights the wild hunt without any problem. I feel like he's already too powerful for a normal person to spar with. About Nefer.
Nefer's intuition is as sharp as a knife, and that is a knife that no one wishes to contend with. Fortunately, I don't make a habit of prying into other people's backgrounds. I can only hope she doesn't either.
I bet Nefer would be a bit interested in him. With all this mysterious aura that he's bringing, I wonder if she's secretly trying to get an item of his. You know, just for safekeeping. About Yehoda.
Yehoda always seems to show up where you would least expect. One day you'll find her by a scrap pile at the Krumkake craft shop. Another you'll see her out on the balcony of some wealthy family's house in Nasha Town. She is rapidly learning the philosophy of survival, her teacher being the land of Nodcry itself.
Oh, he doesn't mention that he actually saved her. Interesting. His voice lines skip over so much that I guess other people would find a bit embarrassing. So he's being overly polite again. Okay, about the Tsaritsa.
Although Nodcry is technically a part of Snezhnaya, you won't hear us habitually refer to Her Majesty, the Tsaritsa. Who's us? The Lightkeepers, of course. Who else?
The nobles that got self-exiled, maybe? So, did he really have a problem with the Tsaritsa? And why? Just because of that whole eternity talk? He wanted everything to stay the same? Or does it have something to do with him being noble? Not like the nobles, but noble of heart? And the Tsaritsa did not fall into such a category? Ah, Flins, you're keeping your secrets a bit too close to your chest for my liking. More about Flins 1.
I am but a humble ratnik. You already know my name. You've seen where I'm stationed. What more is there to know? Were you hoping to hear some kind of sensational, untold tale of my life? I'm afraid that no such tale exists. There is nothing noteworthy to report about my experience as a ratnik. Simply put, I hold my lamp tight, day and night, ready to face the wild hunt whenever it should strike.
See, this sounds like he has a lot of humility, but again, he's making sure that none of his secrets come out. More about Flins, too.
As you have witnessed, no corner of Nodcry is safe from the wild hunt. Some may have the arms and skills with which to defend themselves, but even then, not all wild hunts are made equal. Sometimes for reasons that defy comprehension, horde after horde of monsters will appear with no end in sight, and you simply cannot escape by fighting them off. I have found myself in this predicament a number of times. I am acutely aware that you are a more skilled fighter than most, but the wild hunt is a complex and formidable foe, and I urge you not to underestimate it. If you ever find yourself in its presence, you must immediately inform the nearest Lightkeeper, or by all means come to me.
Yeah, we've come to you many times, Flins. Don't worry about that. More about Flins 3.
You surprise me. Here you are, a seasoned veteran who has weathered countless storms, and yet you still have the curious spirit of a budding young adventurer. All right, let me think. What other pages are there in the story of Flins that you might deem worthy of your perusal? Well, there is my lamp. It's not the standard issue kind wielded by other Lightkeepers. This one has been with me for a very long time indeed. The weight of its past alone is often enough to scare even the darkest of shadows away. As a soul on the brink of death once said, the light of this lamp strikes more fear into the heart than his incompetent colleagues could ever hope to. Will that satisfy your curiosity for now?
No, Flins, it does not. Please, tell me more. I wonder actually about the lamp itself. The blue flames, they are basically his powers. But the lamp itself was able to keep safe Rerir's heart with all the abyssal powers that were coming with it. So I do wonder, what was it made from? And how was it able to keep the abyss at bay from that piece of Rerir? Okay. More about Flins 4.
Almost every sojourner in Nodcry has a complicated past. Desire runs deep in human souls. It is always there and always active. Each night as they mumble in their sleep, the anxiety plagues their mind like a dark fog as the memories stir in the ley lines flowing in various directions. The Nodcry of today is a chaotic place and wasn't always this awful.
This desire. I do wonder though what he means by desire here. Like, does he mean it in a good light? Like, every person strives for something in the world. And, you know, kind of the point of view from a vision holder. Like, if your desire is high enough, good enough, you receive a vision. Or is he actually seeing this as something bad? Something that brings about the abyss, mentioning this dark fog in the lane lines. Okay, more about Flins 5.
Forgive me if I forego my usual airs and graces from now on. The fact is, there are very few people left in this world with any knowledge of my past. And even though you are one of them, I hope you won't treat me differently than anyone else. After all this time pretending to be human, I've actually grown rather fond of seeing how long I can keep up the act. Let's leave the wind and frost, the piles of stone, the moss, and the stench of seawater behind. I have put a few coins together. The time has come to shop for supplies.
This is such a manipulation. I know the traveler knows so little about his past. Yes, we know that he's a fae. We know that he was a noble in the past, in Snezhnaya. But we don't actually have any idea what he was like back then, what he did, why he actually left. And now he's like, this is the expert manipulation. Oh, you already know everything about me. We're such good friends. Let me continue pretending to be human and let's go for supplies. Expert manipulation. Lindsay's hobbies.
Do you have any interest in old coins or ancient gemstones? Not only are they valuable items, but the marks and scratches they accumulate over the years add a certain character, which I find makes them all the more charming, much like a well-aged wine.
Good for you, Flins. Lindsay's troubles.
A colleague of mine in Pyramida City often writes to me, expressing his concern for my well-being. He's a kind old man, and I know he means well, but it's perfectly cozy where I live already, and I am in no need of home improvement suggestions, and I certainly don't need him to get me a cat or a dog.
Doesn't Flins actually have a dog? There is a dog at the cemetery. I think you can even feed it, but I've never been able to. Did that colleague get him a dog and now Flins has no idea what to do with it? Oh my, Flins, if you ever get a cat, give it to me. I'll take it. Favorite food?
Have you ever seen water boiling under an open flame? No. What a pity. There's a kind of liquor in Snezhnaya called firewater. And when you light it, the flame burns on the surface of the liquid. Goes down quite smoothly, too. It'll warm you up from the very depths of your soul. Maybe I'll get to treat you to a firewater one day.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine if firewater actually looks like water? And he brings some to Nobilette, telling him it's water. Those two will not get along well. Okay, least favorite food, considering that you don't even eat Flins.
Given that we are close acquaintances by this point, would you mind if I shared a minor grievance with you? The truth is that, given my unique situation, foods greatly relished by other people, I personally find to be rather dull. But to be clear, I still immensely enjoy the time we spend together at the dinner table.
Such a lie. He doesn't even name the foods that he doesn't like. Oh, just foods that are relished by other people. He literally gives you no information whatsoever. It's like when I was at university, I had the displeasure of using a textbook because the professor decided on that textbook. That was written so badly. Like, one sentence in it was, "Certainly, there are still a lot of people who still smoke cigarettes even today." No shit. Really? I did not know. Flins, you give me the same sense. Never mind. Receiving a gift. 1.
Unsurprisingly, that was exceptional.
Oh. When I give him a gem. Receiving a gift 2.
Yes, delightful.
Okay, and receiving a gift 3.
In the interests of our continued friendship, I would prefer to keep my thoughts to myself.
Oh my, that is so rude. I love it so much. This kind of concealed savagery. I don't know why I have a taste for it, but I love it so much. Okay, almost done. Feelings about Ascension. Intro.
What's this? A gesture of encouragement? Huh. You have my sincerest gratitude. While we're on the topic, long may such gestures continue.
Can you imagine think about Ascension from a lore standpoint. We're giving items to creatures that are powerful out of this world, again and again, to make them more powerful, with flowers and such. I feel like deep down, they all want to say this. Thank you very much. Okay, feelings about Ascension building up.
You seem to have taken a great interest in my training lately. I only hope my rate of development is to your satisfaction.
Yeah, you can feel his savagery underneath his tone. Feelings about Ascension climax.
Every soldier who seeks to improve must not only hone their skills, but carefully consider their tactics. Based on my prior experience in battle, weaponry and strategies that can dispose of enemies en masse are highly preferred. That is why the polearm is my weapon of choice.
Oh, Flins, you have the halberd on my account, but sure. Is the polearm a weapon that can dispose of many enemies at once? I'll be honest, I know absolutely nothing about polearms. Like, swords, love them. You can slash, you can pierce. I played with Epe when I was little, so I'm more of the piercing kind of person. And I know how swords were used in the past and now in sports. And yeah, they're more of a one-on-one kind of weapon. But can polearms really be used against many people at once? Well, if he says so, he's the master of the polearms, after all. Okay, feelings about Ascension. Conclusion.
Though we have never discussed this topic in great depth before, I trust you share the same opinion as I on this. The true art of war lies in deterrence, and not in fighting. Otherwise, things would become far too simple.
What, just destroying everyone that is attacking you is simple? A horde of wild hunt coming at you is simple, Flins? Polearm is used for short mid-range, so it can be used for sweeping enemies, especially for superpowered characters. Yeah, I would not doubt it for superpowered characters. But I wonder if in the real world you can fight with like 2 enemies at once if you have a polearm. I have to research this and see videos of it. Okay, last, the very short ones.
Observe.
I shall. Elemental skill 1, elemental skill 2.
Close your eyes.
I've been hearing this so much. On one, it can impale quite easily and be thrown for long distances. Yeah, I can definitely see that. For the polearms, I would like to see how they fight with multiple enemies at once. I'm very interested in that. Elemental skill 3.
Be silent.
Sorry. Elemental burst 1.
Do you fear the dark?
This is the one I make fun of all the time. Elemental burst 2.
Night falls.
So it does. Elemental burst 3.
To dust.
Oh my, he has 5? Seriously? Elemental burst 4.
The night cometh.
And elemental burst... Oh my, elemental burst 5.
Beware the creatures of the night.
Okay. Elemental burst 6.
The long sleep beckons.
Opening treasure chest 1.
Perhaps these treasures might be of utility to you on your journey. Please, I insist.
Opening treasure chest 2.
Goodness, how the world has changed. Might I ask, when did the custom of placing treasure chests in every nook and cranny come into fashion?
Have you actually wondered who leaves the treasure chests in Genshin? Because it's not only that treasure chests are used as a mechanic in the game for you to find primogems and other stuff, but also, for example, in Bennett's storyline, you kind of go and find treasure chests. And he himself talks about how he usually finds cabbage and other vegetables there. So, if this did not exist before, then why does it exist now? Flins is absolutely right to ask this question. Opening treasure chest 3.
Not to be sniffed at.
That's the funniest one. Low HP 1. I don't really hear a low HP reason, to be honest, because he just dies. He's fine and then dead.
It's a grave situation.
Yeah, I haven't listened to those. Low HP 2.
I'm rather out of sorts.
Poor guy. Low HP 3.
You'll sorely regret that.
I'm sorry, Flins. Ally at low HP 1.
Do not fret.
Okay. Ally at low HP 2.
Please, allow me.
Fallen 1.
See you at the graveyard.
See, I do hear those a lot. I'm sorry, Flins. Fallen 2.
Burn No more.
Oh, fallen tree.
I will return as an avalanche.
Oh, this one. Remember in his story when he talked about how he wanted to basically burn the world? This line is so much like that Flins back then. Okay, light hit taken 1.
Keep your distance.
Heavy hit taken 1.
Steady now.
I hear that a lot. Heavy hit taken 2.
Are you quite finished?
And that. Joining party 1.
Happy to oblige.
Joining party 2.
A pleasure to fight by your side.
And joining party 3.
Allow me to guide the way.
Thank you, Flins. You always guide my way. Okay. I feel I read so much. I listened to all his lines. And there were definitely many cool things. Let's be honest. But so many mysteries remain. He basically didn't really say anything with like 90% of his explanations. Even for food. He was like, oh, I don't like some of the food that is relished by many people. Which people? Which food? No one knows. I really hope that in the future they make another quest for Flins. Especially considering that, yes, we learned a bit about Flins from the cemetery quest, but that was mostly about the ones that had perished there. And I think that Flins is a very awesome character that has so many secrets left. And I would absolutely love to get like an event with him or a story quest. He is super mysterious. I've spent the last 2 hours reading and listening to his lore, and honestly, I probably don't have more than 5 true facts about him at this point. He deserves his own story quest. And please, let us understand more about him. Let us see what he has been through. I wonder if they will do something with him after Snezhnaya comes around, actually. Because that's when we'll meet the Tsaritsa. And he definitely has a problem with her. We don't know why, right now, whether the Tsaritsa herself has a quality that he doesn't like, or if he just wanted things to remain the same. But I bet after we meet her, it should be fine for them to tell his whole story. At least I hope so. But anyway, I actually have to stop already here for today. It's already super late. I can't believe that his lore took me the whole stream. I was so optimistic when I started, before I started, that I would finish with his lore, and then maybe I'll go do some world quests,
Let us have a
or talk with NPCs or something, but yeah. Okay, anyway, it was awesome to go through his stuff. So, thank you everyone so much for watching and chatting with me and everything else, and I hope to see you another day. But for today, bye bye!